I'm back with another topic, and the topic is Linux. So if you are wondering and you're trying to get into the system administration jobs, and you're looking for those type of jobs, and even if you are that person that you like Linux and you want to learn this for fun, trust me, it's not going to be only fun. You are going to be actually a little ahead of the person who is just doing Windows stuff. So why I say this? Because things are moving towards Linux. A lot of the server stuff are going towards Linux. Even the server Windows, they're throwing these new stuff out there, but they're pretty big. When you try to install these servers, they require a lot of space. A lot of people are going to the cloud services, and AWS is like the king of cloud right now. Amazon Web Services. So they're like the top right there. And then Windows is the Azure and the other one, they're like there right now. But still, you are going to hear this word AWS all over if you're going to be that system admin person trying to do two things, like little Linux and a lot of Windows stuff. And then the question would come in that as a Windows person, you've been in Windows environment for so long. How do you connect to Linux, and how do you copy files and things like that? That can give you a little stress out there. But just want to, say that, just try something. Just get some distro. First of all, get SendOS. If that's something that if you want to get into the enterprise level administration and you want to be that person making good money, then start with SendOS. That's like the top Linux, enterprise level Linux right there. Ubuntu is good, but it's more like desktop side. CentOS is more for servers. You would see every single big servers, or even the cloud stuff like open source cloud infrastructure stuff, they run on CentOS. Okay, now I'm just gonna give you guys an example of what I'm just talking about right now. Is why don't we just go and find a Linux job and what they're asking for. Let's just be real, let's just go find a job right now.
So let's go ahead and find one Linux job, and I already opened one. Like I just put Linux support in there. I didn't even put like system administrator or anything, but just to let you know that even if you put just a Linux support, see what kind of jobs are basically available right now in the market. So as you can see, automatically they're putting Linux systems administrator, engineer, architecture, administrator. You will see a little desktop support technician, but that's just a Linux word in there. So you could see why I say that if you're trying to move up, then this would be a kind of nice thing to learn, because first they pay really good money. Of course they're not going to pay you entry level $90,000. That would be awesome, right? But just gonna look like, I just look for junior Linux engineer, and I just clicked on it. If I click on it, all I have to do is to kind of look for what they're asking for, and just look at just go over these things and ask yourself a question. Can you do this? Hands-on experience with Linux. What means is like, do you know anything about Linux? Have you ever installed a Linux distro, or have you ever installed anything that has to do anything with Linux? You remember I talked about something. I talked about this right here, AWS. I mean, this is like I said, the cloud master right now. Of course, you're gonna see other people will be catching up to this, but right now this is a top one, and people will be asking you questions that, as a Windows administrator, if you ever had to provide a solution to your company that what, we can use AWS, and we can run a server, a secure server, and somebody just came up with a solution that, hey, we can install a CentOS or whatever server on this environment, and that's a Linux server. Let's say that's a Linux server. Then you, as a Windows administrator, how can you connect to this? Like, can you connect to cloud? How do you connect this whole Windows stuff? Using what tool? What commands? How would you copy files into this, to that cloud environment, or that instance? So just think about this stuff, and that will basically open you up to new opportunities. And another thing, let's go to our drawing. We'll always do drawing stuff. You have a resume. You have one job that's available in your area right now, and that one job is pretty cool job, right? So, but in that one job right now, you have 3 people applying for it. You, and you just have Windows stuff. Okay, and then there's another person, he just have Linux stuff. Okay, and then there's another person, he got both experience. Maybe he have one Windows with a lot of experience and little less Linux stuff, but he knows what he's, how can you connect stuff. Who do you just think, just be realistic to yourself, who do you think who have more chances to get this job? And the job requirement is that Windows administrator with Linux stuff, just like we saw one example over there, that it requires even a desktop support administrator in that school, they required a Linux stuff in there. So they're just gonna look at the resume. Now what happened is this: you got your resume, you send your resume, and then there's our HR people. Okay, the HR people have drones. I'm just gonna call it drones. They only detect the keyword that is being told by your IT person who is going to hire you. Okay, so that's what happened. The drones basically look at your resume, ting ting ting, and then poo, they just picked out this one because he put Linux stuff in there. You guys did not put, you would just put Windows, you just put Linux, and this one got both of the drone just say, send a signal back to the HR that hey, pick this resume up. Okay, so just to give you guys a visual example that how things can change if you go for a little bit more technology. Now of course I tell my members that whoever in the jobskillshare.org that don't kill yourself. Start with something, one thing, and start try to finish it, but at the same time you can do something on the side for cool stuff, like you're trying to do. Like, first of all, if Linux is, some people love Linux, some people hate Linux, some people love Windows, some people hate it. Don't get into those arguments. Even if somebody's trying to argue with you about things, put them on the side. Focus on your stuff, focus on reality, and that's what I'm sharing with you guys right now, that this is reality right here. Because when you do these two things, even if you have basic skills with Linux, even if you have basic skills with Windows, people look for people who wants to learn and who is more eager to just do things. That's the main purpose of an IT person, is that sometimes people don't want a person who is too much into himself and talk about Linux, and I'm the best, nobody is better than me, or Windows, nobody. Sometimes people do not look for people like that, and trust me, and that's the people that I don't want to go against them, but sometimes it just happens. So I don't want you to get into these arguments, and that's what I did in my whole career on YouTube or any tutorial thing. I don't get into arguments. I only present a broader, a realistic approach to things. Okay, I don't just go into things like this is best, this is this. I go into reality, and this is a reality. When I talked about these services right here, that's up there. And take any great Linux person out there that's making 90 to 100,000 K right now, ask him about this. Tell him, they will give you a big story about this, that how many people are using these type of services. And I'm not just saying this service, any other services, but that's what's happening outside right now, and that's what people are looking for. Now you must be asking yourself a question: how do I start Linux, and how do I start learning on things? Because there's so many Linux distribution distros out there. Can you start with Ubuntu? You can start with CentOS, Debian, Mint, whatever. I mean, there's so different type of names in there. How do I start things? Just like, this is so confusing. So what I would suggest you to do this. Now, my personal thing is this: if you want to start with something easy, and that would be the more of like the maybe if I'm even pronouncing it right, Ubuntu, whatever you want to call it. So the best way to do this is to go to this link right here. Go to Google, and we're just gonna get hands-on right now because I don't want to spend time just talking things, and install this YUMI, and this is basically, you need a USB. You need a USB, for example, 3 or 4 gigs of GB space in there. Once you get that, all you have to do is to click on it. You basically go down and install this right here. This is a portable exe which I already got right here. So if I click on it and I open it, you'll see this. Click on I agree, and then you'll click on what drive it is and just pick one drive, the same drive that where you put a USB. Make sure that's the same one because you're going to format something that you don't want to, right? And here it comes that a lot of good things over here. Okay, you can install this one if you want to just start something, Linux basic stuff, and then you can go online on YouTube, try to learn things. We will do our own course also for administration, not for just showing Linux. We're just gonna do how Windows admins can use Linux and kind of like become that person where he knows both, like system engineer kind of thing. So this is where you can start. Other cool that I like is, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to reality, people really don't care about what type of distro you're using. It's more of the skills that they care about. So why not, if you're just trying to do these things, I would go for something like security. So what about pen testing? Because that's something cool stuff. Like you can just do something at your home, on your lab, try to find out more about networks and trying to find more about security. So that gonna give you even Linux and the security skills, because everybody even the hackers use Linux. Kali, this is on Debian right now. So this is also Linux. So what you need to do is basically you install one Kali right now, and then you can start playing around with it. You just need to click on this. You need to download the ISO. It will basically download it, or you can also go to the site, which is the kali.org, I guess, and you just pick that ISO. Once you have the ISO, you just click it right here, open it, and click create. Your USB will be bootable. You will go to your laptop, and then you will start installing Kali. Now I'm just going to quickly show you guys where to go, because I don't want you guys to go to the wrong site and then have something bad. So this is kali.org right here, and as you guys see, this is the link. You click on the download, and you see right here, this is where you need to pick 32-bit or 64-bit. I have 64-bit machine, and you would just click on ISO here, and it will download it. And then the rest of the process, basically the same thing. You will go to your YUMI, you click on agree. After that, you'll pick your USB, plug that into your computer, and once you do that, just come back to your ISO and click create. Wait for about 10 to 15 minutes and plug out your USB, put it inside your laptop or wherever. I know a lot of people use VirtualBox too. You can use that, but you can also use another old laptop if you want a hands-on, like just take it with you anywhere you want to, and start playing with Linux anywhere you want to, which is a great way. VirtualBox is another way you can do this. You can, if you go to my other videos, you can just install it on VirtualBox. So this is how you can start learning about Linux. So let's just talk about some of the things that you can do with Linux. Like you can install. What would you do on Linux to kind of learn the hands-on system admin type skills? Is first try to know how to copy things, how to copy here and the basic stuff, like what commands should be used to copying, how to add a user, how to delete a user, how to reset a password. Those are basic stuff that you will learn from other YouTube videos and stuff like that. I will want you to focus on something like this. Focus on a web server. Get a web server installed on Linux. Look for what type of servers that can be installed on Linux. There's a lot open source ones, so you can just install that. And once you have that web server up and running, try to access that website that you're running on that web server from other machines, and try to see if you can log in. Now login requires a database. Now you need to look for some open source type of databases. How can you connect that site? You're just basically building a site with a database and let other people log into that server. This is where you will have the real good experience, where you will see how other people are logging into these servers through sites, and how system administrators are doing their job by maintaining those servers, because those servers are running some big sites out there right now. So I'm not going to go in detail, but just wanted to give you an example of what you can do. Run a firewall on it, try to see if you can play around with the firewall security stuff, stuff. Other things would be like, you know, patches, or you can use one Linux system to deploy to other systems, like, you know, try to do like software deployment. Those are the type of things that we did in the Windows stuff too, and kind of like relate to it, because those are the same thing: patches, deployments, imaging. You can use one of the tools that's available outside and try to do the same stuff on Linux. So that's going to give you more hands-on experience, and this is where you probably will become more familiar with Linux stuff. So when you go to jobs, you will have more opportunity to do things. So this was just a topic video with a lot of information. Hopefully we will soon start creating our courses on Linux too, and see you guys in those videos. Bye bye.
Your Windows, I'm not gonna use that. So even you guys can see me right there. So you can boot your system and you can basically use the Linux. Most of the Linux, when I said that you can put it in a USB, you don't even have to install it on this machine. For installation, you can use the virtual box, and you will be safe on that one to learn. But you can just click on the USB device right here, go to System Tools, and go to Kali Linux, or you can be any other Linux. And the first one is live, not the install one. So we're just gonna do live right here, and this will basically, without even touching my system inside anything that I have Windows stuff on it, they will not touch it. It's just gonna run from this USB, which is pretty cool stuff. Without even, you know, you can just like start testing it out, learn some stuff. Yeah, one thing about this is that it's not gonna save anything, but still, you can learn a lot of things, you know, just by watching videos on YouTube right now. Before we make our course, you can watch that stuff and still make a lot of, you know, make sense out of this, like how does Linux stuff look, because most of them looks the same way. Like I said, if you want to install things and you want to keep it, you want to do it like you want to learn things and copy things and put files in it and all that kind of stuff, then you definitely need to install it on VirtualBox. So there you go. Our Linux is up and running, and then you can basically start doing some testing. If you love pen testing kind of stuff, you can just start playing around with it. The main thing about Linux is that not these applications. I mean, they are like, you know, available in other operating system too. The main thing is the terminal, and this is like the, you know, the main area if you want to be that Linux person. If you can do things from here and start, like, you know, if you can like copy files from here, you can open applications from here, you can connect to the cloud services from here, and you can do all that stuff, then that's it, guys. This is what Linux is about. Other than that, it's applications. It's a desktop applications. They're available in Windows. Like for example, this application, Metasfall, is also available in Windows, and it's also available here. So it's really not about applications. It's about the terminal in Linux. But like I said, if you want to try this stuff, and you want to keep it and, you know, put some files in there and everything, then you have two options. You can use it on this laptop and install it, but make sure that will wipe off everything. Or you can use a VirtualBox to, you know, install a VirtualBox, take a snapshot, delete it, you know, redo it again if you mess up something. So that's it, guys. I mean, I just wanted to give you guys a little hands-on look for Linux and all that. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what you install as long as it has terminal, and you can start learning stuff right there. So sudo, we are done for this one, and we're gonna make another course for this full course for administrators. How do you do things? All right, thank you.
So when I talked about CentOS, I want to also back it up now. So you can see right here, you can just type v1 cloud and you will get to this link right here. They're saying that we are a replacement for vCloud. Now basically what this is, I'm just gonna click on it. It's running on top of CentOS, and here it is. They will not claim something that we have a technology that can run 1,000 virtual machines and this and that and this and that. You can do this, you can install this many instances or whatever on top of something that is not even strong enough. So that's why I say it. If you have CentOS, if you master this one, you probably you're basically right there, you know. So now CentOS is kind of like a clone of Red Hat. Red Hat is kind of like the enterprise Linux in companies. They use the Red Hat, most of the people, but CentOS is also being used all over. So it's really up to the company, because they have money, they use this, and that's the same thing. CentOS and this is like a clone of each other. maybe different differences with the support and with the Red Hat engineers and stuff like that. Now I'm not as expert in this stuff, so but you can see if you can do this CentOS stuff, then you basically can do this. Experience with, and just really go just with the top right here. So it consists of over 1,000 physical and virtual servers. Remember we talked about virtualization, consisting of Linux, Solaris, and Windows servers. So you see the mix in there, just for this Linux system administrator in Washington DC, and you can see the rest of the stuff is just basic. Following installation instructions, installing application Linux system, basic troubleshooting Linux system, writing shell scripts. This is a little advanced stuff right here. Common administrator tasks, that's basics. Basics administrator maintaining scheduling basics. Lab environment basic, and TCP stuff, that's just basic, and this is just a normal job requirement right there. And then the rest is just their preferable, desirable stuff. So that's why I just wanted to go back to CentOS stuff, like why I want you guys to start with CentOS, or if you don't like CentOS, then start with Kali, or more of a security site. Then you want to be that security person, then just start with that. That's also a pretty strong Linux distro, Debian. I think it's right here. So as you guys can see, you guys can basically get this Kali for yourself, and then make sure play around with all these tools and get to know Linux more. Alright, see you guys in a different video.